Welcome to Secure Management Faculties, where your mind is key before you unlock what is seen. Secure Agent Dreyfuse. We're going to try to make this one quick. I was going to do an actual VR segment. I could slide that back to the person that sent me a direct message. Sort of forgot about your comment, went back and retrieved it, and I said, you know what, let's put this to the forefront, right? And obviously, we're going to keep everything confidential. Not going to see your name, not even going to see your tag or nothing like that. So it won't be no lace concentration to it. And obviously, always, we're going to keep everything self-defense in a self-defense orientation. And then your circumstance or consideration or problem that you consider to be a problem will be acknowledged. Now, I will be expressing this in a from personal experience to an impartial manner, so don't take what I say personally. But I am not going to cover up the veil. Just be aware of that. All right. So first off, um, to the viewer that sent out this message, right? This is all towards you, but this is all for the video itself. Um, and as you can see, the title is the Musho or Musha Shugyo. What is the Musha Shugyo? That is known as the samurai's warrior's journey, or you could just simply acknowledge it as the warrior's journey. And I want to put something to the forefront to you in expression for my journey, in application, so that you can sort of modify your journey to know in perspective why you should take your journey into this account in order to have the substantial understanding of what is the optimized experience you want in quality to yourself in relationship to your work. So, listen, let's just be honest. We all know that there are ways to sort of get around certain things to do better legally or unlegally, right? Or illegally. And so, um, I see you were adamant about certain people's opinions, and you were really stuck into a degree mindset, degree system. And so, for my background, I have over 10 plus years of experience, and I just left my 20s approximately 2 years ago, starting out from this video. So, it's it's an understandable feat to suggest that in that small amount of time I've accumulated up to uh, a essentially what I called a checkmark point. One of my family professions, I've accumulated up to their retirement point, right, or a certain point of where they accumulated their funds to when they were at the end of their career, if you will. And not only I've done it in a short amount of time against a 30-year, or what is that, 30-year, 20-year, 40-year scale, depending on how long their career measure was, right? The fact is, I did it in 10, right? And realistically, it was even before that because the rest of the years was in my career setting, as in now. So I'm going to start with the application for you to understand, for your warrior's journey, for your Musha Shugyo, you must understand that you must go for the potent quality of the work in its truest form, not a coddle form. And when I say a coddle form, I'm talking about um, going to it in the aspect of having support, resources, being able to rely on certain benefits to be paid, right? That could speak to the military in the fashion, saying you get housing and things like that, and you get all the food and stuff provided for you and things of this nature. And pretty much all you got to worry about is what that allowance that you get, right? And or certain responsiveness that may be in place, such as law enforcement, right? I get on the mic, doing. I need some backup, this, that. I got a support group coming. I got resources coming. I have the coddling effect to happen. Musho Shugyo is about going in the grind at the beginning of the beginnings of your craft, I want you to understand what that means. And that means you need to take work on its full form, or your craft in its full form, to what it is, when you don't have the coddling effect to it. And then you build back to the coddling effect to it, right? And about time you come back, you're going to be entirely different, because you're going to see the actual realism of it, right? We in society, we often promote the cheat code, right? Or the uh, strategic strategy of doing something the better way to alleviate certain tasks. But that's fine to the concept that you've retrieved your Musha Shugyo out of the concept of the true effort of what it is that you're trying to become. Because you'll find out that you're going to be pieces lacking and not becoming that concept in truth to the position, if you were planning that to begin with, because certain people just fill in spaces along the way. You're going to be lacking in the concept department, or the psychological characteristic, or what people acknowledge as the soul department of yourself, to be the actual transfer of your career properties and active action. And so I stress to you that it doesn't have to be in the form, if you're already further along in your career, whatever or not, I don't know your specific setting or whatever, or your age or whatever. Contemplate on those Musha Shugyos, right? And apply yourself to the pure form of what it means to be under those stresses of the environment. In particular, I've shared before on this channel about my start off in security protection. When I first started off in security protection, it was nothing but $7 on the barrel. There was no Adamant HQ. There was no CPL at the time. There was, how can I say, no work-life balance, and then seeing the benefits of your wealth getting paid for it. I had a scrap car Grand Marquis with a white trunk. And I remember those days and building from those days. And I steadily gravitated from the Detroit and Highland Park area, scaled up to Dearborn, and eventually scaled up out of Dearborn. These are cities in Michigan. Heading to Metro Detroit Airport, and then eventually landing somewhere in the Ann Arbor area, working federal security protection. But by then, by Dearborn area, the quality of work performance and the harshness of the journey of the Musha Shugyo was completely tempered and mastered at that point as far as quality. The financial didn't kick in, but the financial, the quality of environment and productivity have increased. So coming from that, everything else that, when somebody else is growing up in that such quality, they are lacking of the aspect of what true suffering entails in the capacity to real life situations. But let's speed this up. So start tapping into your warrior's journey. Start tapping into what it means to actually be the quality of your work, because guarantee, regardless if the environment is embracing you or not, it's going to show up. And when it shows up, the unauthenticity of yourself and the performance and the lacks that you are, that you probably want to be, right, it's going to show up. It takes a certain kind of person to be Batman or Superman. Are you willing to make the price, right? And are you willing, or can you even take the price in your current condition? But skipping aside of that, so let's go about people projection, and let's jump in straight into the degree work and relations, right? We're going to try to cover that at the same time because I'm a little bit over. So acknowledging the projection that people do. Listen, the problems you have with people, you need to understand that people are insecure beings, right? Really insecure beings, egotistical beings, and they always try to play this sort of one-up thing, right? And so with this one-up thing that they do, substantially, it's because they felt insecure, especially if you were supposed to be, or they thought you were supposed to be lesser than what you were, right? And so regardless of wherever angle the offense came in, they're substantially projecting weaknesses of how they believe that you feel about whatever it is they're doing, even though you're not paying not a shred of attention to that specific thing. I want you to really be adamant about that. That can come from anything or anywhere. Just be understandable about what that is. And constantly you'll find them projecting that same insecurity to sort of put you in a propulsion-based position to try to align themselves, even in simple conversation, to the ineffectiveness of how you are compared to the insecurity that they feel about. And so, and just in my spectrum, like I'm very tuned in, I'm very tapped in. I notice those things. I noticed a little thing. It'll be something like it could be something small. It could be like, oh well, yeah. Let's say you turned the fan off, and then they changed it to a certain diameter, or they turned it back on as soon as you left the room, or some shit like that, right? Things like that has the tendency, or it could be something like a simple program, right? You had a program a certain way, and you wanted the program to look this certain way, function a certain way, and then they had animacy to change the program when you left, or switching certain placements of certain items and situations and circumstances, and pretend like you didn't notice it, right? But the fact of the matter is, we above and beyond all that, and I've been done a long time ago with superficial banter, because it's not going to do nothing for your characteristic development, and it's definitely not going to do nothing for what is popular called and acknowledged as your soul. You have to be on your Musha Shugyo, if you will. We don't have no time to waste. It's about the true walk of the warrior's pilgrimage. So, forget about what people's projections are. Understand the relationship between the liability and the responsibility. People, circumstances, situations, items are always going to present themselves to be a responsibility or a liability. And luckily, in my life, through my 10-year span of experience, I had a majority of crushing, debilitating things happen to me. Relationship, family relationship, it doesn't matter what it is. All those things were happening self-destructively, right? And overcame them because I took them head on for what they were. Didn't lie to myself, didn't try to, go do things that was unnecessary to the development. Took it full force, even when it was over. Went back and got the rest of the chaos, and still ate it full whole without uncooked, if you will. And so the whole point is, during those journey segments, you got to be able to take things for what they are, because if you keep on skipping over things and seeing them for what you want them to see, you're never going to be able to have the proper judgment for what things truly are, because you've given up the compassion to take anything onto your characteristic, onto your ego for true development. So, forget those self-projecting people or whatever, whatnot. Acknowledge it as it comes. I'm not saying run away from the problem and keep skipping. You can walk away. Some of them need management here and there or whatever, whatnot. Let people do what they do. But, eventually they're going to have to understand that, especially when you're real high in your Musha Shugyo journey, right, if you will, they're going to realize that those little things don't mean exactly squat, because you're obtaining everything in your line of sight to your goal projections. And for as far as for me too as well, everything else in my career segment is nothing but a test and a fickle play with, if you will, because I'm already established. I don't have no standing out liabilities that hold me down. Everything that I do from week to week is what I essentially want to do, because it was earned that way through my wisdom of choice, not a conglomerate modification, fake perspiration of that set choice to make me feel those results. But anyway, let's jump straight into that last point, and I'm going to be talking about the degree work relations. I seen you were really tight up into the degree concept, right? And let me put this on to you real quick. Listen, 2 police departments right now at this point in time, but they still keep the same track record. It could change. So we got DPD, Detroit Police Department, that hires in trainee positions. What is their requirement, my friend? Their requirement is a high school diploma, and you coming in, and they pay for everything in full sponsorship. They have their own academy. And then we have E-Course Police Department. Take in mind, they have a training position that they more or less sponsor, and the requirements that you have an associate's degree to start. Here's the problem with that. Not only Detroit Police is paying more, $20 to $25 an hour at this current time, E-Course is paying approximately about $15.50 or 20 cents an hour. And on top of that, here's the greatest thing about that. E-Course is not necessarily the most biggest known officer development pool area. And what that simply means is, if I go to Detroit Police for 1 year, I can get an equivalent of 3 years of experience based off of the actual systematic chaos they have to deal with in the city, right? We're talking about ranges from simple, I'm not even going to say cat stuck in a tree, right? Because that's not befitting. But let's say simple cat stuck in a tree to dead ball on deadly force situations reoccurring consistently. So here's the thing. Non-degree position, same work. Degree position, same work. More experience in this non-degree situation, less experience in a degree situation. Make sense of that. What I'm telling you is to understand that the degree worth thing is not all what it seems. I, from my personal position, have been trailing and trugging along with pure experience, the pure Musha Shugyo experience, 100% off nothing but a high school diploma. And I've gotten all the way to the federal level twice. My particular relationship to the federal level this time is security contracting. And that is the concept that few are supposed to be able to wiggle into. But off experience alone, the capacity, and we're in the area of equivalent experience, you must understand that that is equivalent to a measurement of a degree. Don't waste your time being in a field and getting a higher degree or seeing a perception of a higher degree, but you don't have the experience to fill it. Or you working next to someone with a lesser degree and they're doing the same work and getting the same amount of highest pay as you're getting. Make that make sense. So I see you were stuck in that. You keep on saying that. I don't know what your experience is. The degree is fine, but make it supportive to what you're already doing. Don't be working at Taco Bell and you want to become a doctor. Don't be working at McDonald's and you want to become an automotive mechanic. Go work at AutoZone. I've shared this throughout my whole career line sight of my whole experience to certain people that came across my way. Work in alignment with your work. And so when you're working in alignment with your work, there will never be a loss. You must understand that there will substantially never be a loss. You should not be working out of alignment with your work in order to get to your work after you get an approval that you can do the work and still have no experience in the work. And a little quick bonus about intelligence, too. People always get this mixed up. I got to throw this in there. The difference between education and intelligence. Education is nothing more than the redundancy of absorbing information from your front conscious mind to your subconscious mind and the capacity of remembering it just either pass a test, to go through the mold of the situation, or simply just go through the process of educating yourself, of being aware of the information. To be intelligent about information is being able to make yourself that information, set the experience plus the attachment to the bond of the information, to not only superficially express that information to the world consistently, but being able to be that information through its dynamic changing properties in the form of transmuting it out to the world in communication and actual form of use and application. I have people that can't keep a thought process like that at all, that I've met in my experience, and they're supposed to be greatly more educated than me. I'm educated through the concept of my soul and my experience. So I'm to the point where I got so much experience behind me in bulk. If I decide that I want to go place a degree program on top of my things, I'm already there. That's just a nice good old boy network. Hey, he has this too, right? So actually develop yourself critically to what is intelligence and being able to express yourself in the form of intelligence, and not put so much weight in a piece of paper to determine you, but you determine that piece of paper. All right, secure management faculties. When your mind is key before you unlock what is seen. Secure Agent Dreyfus. You already know what it is below. If you got an extra gun, you need to sell it, ship it out, do what you need to do. Again, just as a review, that projection of people, get rid of them. See the difference between liability, and also responsibility. You have to dull in that for a minute, let that process be lucrative, make it happen, understand what the differences are, and move along in your journey. If you will, understand the difference between degree work relations to the capacity that they are in your position and how you're angled up with it, and don't let that control your mental mind state so much, because you definitely can get ahead and work with these higher next degrees in conjunction or with, around, or even right next to in your career capacity, and still make things move and gain experience. Your Musha Shugyo, your warrior's journey. The most important thing out of all this, do it. This is a longer video. I'm not sure if I'm going to post it and start cutting it up and edit it. I'm probably just going to leave it as it is. You need to hear this, my guy. Wherever you're at right now, go for your Musha Shugyo. If you are higher than the lower levels of your capacity of your craft, incorporate when a real situation happens. Don't run from it, right? Do not run from it. Absorb it for what it is, and be honest with yourself. Just that's the forefront. You don't have to listen to me, but listen to the real situation that's going to get you to be the Superman or Batman that you really want to be, instead of being the fake that you consistently may be. All right, again, I'll see you later. See you on the next upload. Appreciate all the viewers and the content, etc. See you on the next one.